thought of talking in front of a couple of thousand people, mate, I shat myself. I was at a point where I was out of excuses, and I'm desperately trying to avoid doing it. I really didn't want to do it. And the last thing I could think of is, I said to Jo, look, I can't do this, babe. I've sweated through my shirt. She anticipated this, and I love her for that. You know,
Yeah.
Speaker that night was Jim Rohn, who was my fighter. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I want to walk on water. First, you got to step out of the boat. You have to go all in. If you're truly committed, you're absolutely committed. If it doesn't work out, then you're going to have to learn to adapt. I think the biggest, most important thing is to be self-aware, because you cannot change anything you don't first acknowledge. You're not fearful. There's a sense of wonder. You know, you think about a child, everything's exciting.
Yeah.
Everything's interesting. And not saying that kids doesn't, you know, have a cry and whatnot. To be free, to be mesmerized by life, to be curious,
Exactly,
to investigate. If it's going to be, it's up to me. You have it within you, and I've said this with all my clients.
From school failure to record-breaking success, David Niethe proves that mastering your mindset can take you anywhere. Welcome to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya. I'm so grateful that you're here watching or listening to this episode. We'd love for you to share this episode with your friends, your family, and your workmates. And please follow or subscribe to this podcast so that we can get it out to the wider world. Today, we're diving into a world of mental performance with none other than Dave Niethe, New Zealand's leading mental performance coach, standing tall with a larger-than-life personality to match. Dave's approach is as bold and effective. With over 20 years of experience, he's helped CEOs, elite athletes, high-performance teams push past their mental limits and achieve extraordinary results. From battling setbacks, dyslexia, teenager to breaking records as an elite athlete, Dave's journey is a testament to the power of the mindset and the determination and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us as we explore the man behind the method and his unique approach to getting mental edge on how you can unlock your true potential. The Winning Mindset book by David Niethe is a transformative step-by-step guide on how to cultivate a winning mindset, making it accessible to readers from all backgrounds that delves into the power of mental performance and its impact on achieving success, offering simple yet effective strategies designed to help individuals from various walks of life to develop fearless mentality, reframe the failure, and remove self-limiting beliefs. Welcome, Dave, to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast.
This guy sounds amazing, doesn't he? Now, just the only correction I would make, it's actually over 30 years now.
30 years.
30 years
wow.
in this industry.
That's a long time.
Thanks for having me on board, mate.
Oh, thank you for opening up your home.
Yeah.
In your office, which is
amazing. I've got to say, it's an incredible environment to work out of. I absolutely love coming to work every day.
Yeah, and as we were talking before, this office has had many well-known athletes and people in the
from this very humble little garage, we've got multiple world champions, gold medalists, Olympic, Commonwealth champions, world record holders, and a couple. I've now had a young lady, Lydia Coe, who's now a dame. I mean, you know, it's incredibly humbling when you think it's just a little garage. But what takes place in the air, far out, man, it blows my mind.
Yeah, and it's taking that courage to step out into what you're good at, right?
Yeah.
And what you're really pursuing in life,
and finding your passion. If you look at the journey for me, here I was. I left school, went into the printing industry, which I absolutely hated, and over that period of time, started to develop this dream about mental performance coaching, which, you know, you think 30 plus years ago wasn't really a thing. You know, mental performance is only probably since 2010 as it really started to take off, I'd say.
Yeah.
So I was sort of, it was starting to get, early 90s is where I sort of started. And there was a real interest, but there was not an awareness of it, really.
Tell us a little bit about your journey and like as a child, leading up to the point where you went into coaching.
So I think the best way to start is where the first sort of significant moment for me that in reflection now I go, shit, that was really quite significant. And that was, Wesley College for me, tough school. For the first year was a lot of hidings, and you had to harden the fuck up, But one of the teachers there, actually was the Reverend Graham Kane, and we had a class on a Saturday morning called Life and Faith, and it wasn't just about Methodist, but it was all sorts of things. But it was Graham Kane who gave me the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which I read over and over and over, and resonated with this idea of me being Jonathan, who somehow wanted to be more than what I was, right? Now, I sort of went off the rail a little bit, left school, went through a little bit of a rough period, got in not a huge amount of trouble, but just your average teenage rebel, so to speak. But it was the saving grace for me, I think, was getting into the gym, meeting some great people. The first real mentor for me was a guy called Steve Barry, who was at that point Highland Game champion and New Zealand strongman competitor, and he started training. I started training with Steve, and he mentored me a lot. And then I met others along the way, and so I really got into, the motivation for the gym was to get over the bullying. Right, I wanted to be the biggest, strongest motherfucker I could be. Right, so I'm in the gym, and I've always been a sort of person that I'm very tenacious. I'm not going to be half-assed with anything. If I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to be disciplined with that. And I grew hugely. My heaviest was about 165 kgs. So I competed in New Zealand's Strongest Man. And through that period of time, I realized that I needed to find an edge to be even more competitive. And it wasn't so much about the programming, or in some cases, the other boys were doing a whole lot of drugs. I was fascinated with the mind. I go back to Jonathan Livingston, right? And I started researching what the Russians were doing with their strength program. Yes, they were doing a lot of drugs, but they were using a lot of hypnosis, which I found really fascinating. Now, through that investigation, I backed into neurolinguistics and the methods, that are developed through that, and became fascinated. And I started applying it. Then I had people coming up to me and going, man, how do you, get to that level of intensity and focus? And then through that, I kind of realized, I'm good at this, and I really enjoy this. And what would be even better is, how do I share this? How can I use this? Because I got a buzz, because I think, for me, the way I think is, I would go into these gyms, and the moment that I got the strongest in one of the gyms, I got the fuck out. Because I don't want to be the big fish in a small pond. No. I wanted to be constantly evolving, right?
And it's that getting to the top of a mountain and
realizing there's another one.
To, right?
And that's life, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
you're back at step one again.
That's the beautiful thing about life. It's a continuation.
Yeah.
And again, I go back to as I've gone through this period, it's that existentialist sort of mindset where you're thrown in this world, we live and we die. Now, what we have in that period of time is an opportunity to become the best possible version of ourselves. And that's something that resonated with me. So, obviously for me initially, it started physically. I'm really proud of the fact that, even in my 40s, I'm benching, I was benching 180 for reps. I'm up there competitive with these guys half my age, and they still didn't even come close. So in a physical way, it was like, fuck, if I can do that physically, where else can I apply it? Now, this is something that's really important. Carl Jung said this: where fear lies, there lies your task. So you get to this point and understand that you are the most incredible project you'll ever work on. So I then started looking at, okay, so what are my limiting beliefs? Now, I left school at 16. I was a second year fifth. I hated school. And being dyslexic, my model of the world was, because I failed everything, I'm not that bright. And that became my model of the world. So the expectations that I projected and expected were based on the limiting beliefs that I had. So I was happy to get a job, just over broke. So I spent 8 years as a printer. But along this journey, I started to realize, and again, I'm going to reference Jim Rohn here, who's an amazing man.
And you got to meet the man.
I met the man. I'll tell you a story about that, because that was really pinnacle again. Certain people stimulate something in you. So Jim Rohn says 3 steps to greatness. Number 1, set goals. 2, educate yourself. And 3, have a financial plan. And I've applied that principle to where I am now. And, there's a sense of freedom in owning everything, not owning any money to anyone. I like that sense of freedom. So, the key here is education. And I knew, so at 20, on my journey, I still didn't know about coaching at this point. I was interested in personal development, but what I thought I might do is police force. So I went for the exam, passed the physical easily, but when it came to the written exam, I bombed. And the lady there who specialised in adult education said, Dave, I want to do a couple of tests on you, because you're bright, but you've really your reading and writing's not good. And she diagnosed me as dyslexic. Now, I hate fucking labels, right? And I think people are very quick to put, I can't because of this. Now, fuck that. No, you don't want to be labeled.
No.
But you do need to take the responsibility to extract and take responsibility for the fact, okay, this is my situation. Now seek solutions. So I went out, and part of it fundamentally was that I had to become disciplined in doing what I didn't like doing. I don't like reading. Holy heck, how that's changed over the years. Lamplight books in par now have been so incredibly brilliant for me. I spend thousands with them. I absolutely love books, but I had to learn how to read and write at 20. But that opened a whole new world. And, there's still those limiting beliefs. I mean, I'm not saying that I nailed it, man. I'm still evolving, So from then I started the coaching process. Now, the beautiful story is I had this dream about coaching. And I worked with a wonderful man, Clive Litton, who was my first coach. And one of the things that he said, get clear on your vision. And so there's a picture over there that I drew in 1995. of me on stage. Right?
I see that.
Yeah, right.
The blue one.
And that was my vision, right? And you got to appreciate, 1995. I'm kind of still in steel cap boots and overalls. I'm like, you're deluded now. And this is the other thing is when you have a dream and an aspiration, people are going to try and sabotage it or bring you back down, And I still remember to this day walking up the corridor of Comprint where I was working. And the manager there pulled me over and said, "Hey, Dave, what's this bullshit about you doing this mental psychology stuff? You only just managed to pass your apprenticeship." And that really fucking pissed me off, right? Now, I would, at that point, like to have just knocked him the fuck out, but it's not appropriate. But I'll tell you something. Success is the best revenge.
It is.
And I use that as fuel. And I use the positive and the negative all. And in life, you've got to learn to reframe everything to serve you. That gave me a focus and an energy to educate myself. I went into neurolinguistics, got certified there with an amazing man called Dr. Tad James, who unfortunately has passed away now. And then I continued on that path. I've never stopped educating myself. I'm currently doing a degree in psychology and philosophy. And I've got to say, I'm absolutely loving the philosophy, not psychology, not so much. So, I think that's about you understanding that you're the most incredible project you'll ever work on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a continuation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I've read this in many books, including yours.
Yeah.
And, The Winning Mindset, if you haven't already got a copy, I'd encourage you to get this book because it will change your life. It has changed my life, and interesting thing, Dave, is that we have a very similar story from childhood. Like you, I was bullied. Like you, I failed school cert twice. Right?
Well done, mate.
Miserably, yeah.
It's a good sign that you're intellectual. Yeah.
Like you, I went into printing.
Yeah.
But I was printing bottles instead of other things. I think you're printing magazines.
I was doing Women's Day.
Women's Day, yeah. And just reading through your book, it's almost like I was stepping back into my childhood to a certain point. And so, I've got a lot out of this. And that quote that you quoted by Carl Jung is, around where your fear is where your task is. Yeah. For me, that's been something that's come up multiple times in the last week.
Wow.
Right?
Interesting.
And I was reading The Mindset Mentor Level Up by Rob Dial, who I absolutely love as well. And again, the first chapter was fear. Second chapter was identity. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, okay, the universe is telling me something here.
There's a continuation and a cognitive, sort of a collective message within all these books. They all say the same fundamental thing.
They do. And so what I've been doing is feeling into that fear and going, okay, what is it?
Lean into it.
And like you said, I went on this journey of learning.
And learning how to learn initially for me, and then from there developing it. I recently, at the end of last year, I had probably the most significant moment of my life. When you look at my academic record, right? I'm and the first thing I remember is when I first undertook, because it's time to step up, and I decided to go to university. And it was interesting. I keep saying to people, I went back to university. I said, hang on, Dave, you never fucking went in the first place. I don't know why I said back to university. So anyway, here I am I started at 50, and I remember I thought, right, it's time to step up. I'm doing this. I really want to get that degree. And I remember Equity and Justice was my first philosophy paper, the first university paper I ever did. And I remember submitting my first essay. And I'm kind of thinking, if I fail this, I'll have to either I'm going to commit to continuing, but fuck, man, I really kind of need this to work. And I remember sitting inside, and the email arrived on the phone. You have an email from Massey University. I'm going, oh fuck. And it was that night. So you come in here, you turn the lights off. My wife's in there looking. She can see me. And I said, oh, Joe, I'm just going off to check my computer. I just got an email, not telling him anything. Sat in here and I got this, and I got a B minus. I burst into tears because that was significant for me, because I realized now that I was ready to go on to that next journey. Now, it's taken me 5 years. 5 years of improvement. And again, the beautiful thing people need to understand is the gift is in the feedback, and most of it is negative, right? So I got a lot of feedback from my professors going, hey, listen, you need to tidy up this, your sentence here, your structure. I took it all on board. There's a letter there underneath my phone that says, congratulations, you excelled this semester. Now, I would love to have that every semester.
Yeah.
But for me, again, it's like, it's taken me 5 years. Some people do it the first year.
Yeah.
I'm doing it part-time, obviously, so, but I did it. Do you know what I mean? And now, for me, on my laptop there's a little card, there's a little affirmation that says, A+ is most like me. Commit.
That's your identity, right?
Yeah, I identify as a leading student now. And that level of expectation, there's a certain amount of stress, but how do I deal with it? I deal with it by being prepared, by taking responsibility and organising and not making excuses.
Yeah.
So again, something I really harp on that's important for people in life is to be congruent. I harp on and on. People go, what do you mean by congruent? That is to talk the talk and walk the walk. That is to align both intent and intention. And when you do, it doesn't guarantee you ultimate results, but it highly improves possibility and probability. And that's all I'm doing. I know that if I do, normally Sundays, I'm in here by about 6:30 in the morning, and I will go to about 5 in the afternoon, study.
Wow.
That's not including Saturday. Fridays is study. Sorry, 3 days of study, and then during the week I still do study. And pre-study. So the semester hasn't started yet. I've already gone through all the curriculum in the book. I'm taking notes. I'm prepared. I want that A. Now, I have the best of intention and let go the outcome. If I don't, I don't. But I am going to do all that is within me to ensure that I get those standards. But the other cool thing is, I just want to recognise 2 wonderful guys, because I sat in there back in the 94, 93 maybe, actually earlier, I've got 2 mates, Dahya and Brownie. And you know what true mates are? True mates support you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in there and going, hey, this is my dream. And I'm thinking, where am I going to work? I need a... And those 2 guys, we're having a few beers, and the guys go, oh, for fuck's sake, look at your garage, mate. It's full of shit and crap. We'll tidy it up and we'll build you an office. So Darren Orchard and Darren Blank, those 2 mates were catalysts in helping to create this.
To build this. Wow. And what an amazing
it's a fantastic, like I said, it's nothing, it's a humble garage. But great things, no excuses, man.
But it's where you do your work.
I love coming to work.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love being in here even when I'm not working.
Yeah, as you said before, the job is what?
Just over broke.
Just over broke, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting. 25, 30 years of being in corporate world. Late last year,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in prison.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to go all into my business.
Yeah. The old saying, if you want to walk on water, first you've got to step out of the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I like that. You have to go all in. You know, I'm a real fan of fuck plan B. Yeah.
There is no plan B.
If you're truly committed, you're absolutely committed.
There's only plan A, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, if it doesn't work out, then you're going to have to learn to adapt. But fundamentally, you know, you have to be fully committed. I mean, look, if you want to be an Olympic gold medalist, you can't fart ass around.
No.
You know, you have to be absolutely tenacious, committed, and to a certain point, selfish.
Yeah.
It's just a fact of life.
Yeah, absolutely. When your friends say, let's go for a drink or whatever, you can say, no, I've got work to do.
Yeah, and if they're true friends, they'll understand that.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Let's go back to Jim Rohn. So you mentioned Jim Rohn, and I read in your book about you got an opportunity to go and speak in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Las Vegas and I sang in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But you got to go and speak. And how old were you?
What
was going on for you at the time? And
I would have been about 26.
Wow.
Okay. So I got this opportunity, and again, you know, beside every good man is a better woman.
Yeah.
So you got to appreciate the skills that I've developed over the years as public speaking. 26, and you, I think most people listening to this will get a sense of that blue collar South Auckland guy, right? I speak the way I speak, and I make no apology. I swear, I don't give a fuck.
I'd love for you to just be completely authentic.
Because that's the one thing that people love about me.
Yeah.
And I've never changed in all this time. So the thought of talking in front of a couple of thousand people, mate, I shat myself, right? Now, again, I was at a point where I was out of excuses, and I'm desperately trying to avoid doing it. I really didn't want to do it. And the last thing I could think of is, I said to Jo, look, I can't do this, babe. I've sweated through my shirt. There's sweat. It's not good. She anticipated this. Bitch pulls out a shirt and goes, put it on and get your ass out there. And I love her for that, you know.
Yeah.
So I spoke, and then the guest speaker that night was Jim Rohn, who was my fucking idol. I was like, oh my God. And I say to people, never ever put anyone on a pedestal, because you give your power away. And I put him on a pedestal. Hey, but I was young and still on this path. I hadn't read my book at that stage. So I'm sitting in the booth with my wife and a good mate, Darren, and we're having dinner, and all of a sudden this hand was on my shoulder, and I look up, and it's fucking Jim Rohn. And he goes, I was impressed with your talk, young man. You have a bright future in this industry. Now, in that freaking moment, I could have chosen something really intelligent to say, absolutely, Jim, I thank you very much for that. I appreciate your kind words. But being fucking starstruck, I went, oh, fuck, Jim, I love you. And then I'm like, oh, you fucking idiot. And you can see the smirk on his face, like, don't worry, son, I'm used to that. And he said, no, seriously, you keep on this journey. You really do have a bright future. And to have that affirmation from a living legend at that point. And, ironically, that was at the Stardust Hotel, which was the last hotel to be blown up when they rebuilt. Yeah. It was so, because most of the affirmation that I had was negative. You're not that bright. You struggle. You know what I mean?
And that one moment just would have completely changed the trajectory of life.
It sparked something.
Something, yeah.
You know, the biggest need of an individual is simply to be affirmed and acknowledged.
Yeah.
Holy shit. He didn't have to, but he did.
Yeah.
And he will possibly never know, he's passed now, he'll never know how much that meant to me.
Oh, I'm sure he's looking down and
mate,
going,
and I'm sure, for me, in some sense, I like to make him proud.
Yeah, absolutely.
To continue the work.
Yeah, I feel he's looking down and going, mate, Dave.
Yeah, man. And again, here I am now, through all these years of doing this, I now sit down and I've identified individuals that are passionate about coaching, and I mentor them now. And people go, if you're helping these people, you're creating more mate, if you're fucking good at what you do, you'll be intimidated by no one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love doing this. I have continuously had a 7-week waiting list for the last 30 years.
Wow.
And people say, how do you build your business? I don't.
It's word of mouth.
I do a fucking good job and people refer.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
That's it.
And that is the essence of coaching. Yeah. Do a fucking good job.
Yeah.
And the rest will take care of itself.
Be the best at what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't need to compare yourself with anyone else.
Nah.
You just compare yourself with who were you yesterday.
Yeah. And am I a better version today?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the wonderful journey. Like I said, you're the most incredible project you'll ever work on.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know, I think you know, but I've been doing a series of podcast episodes of 3 books that I've read in the last few months.
Yeah.
One of them is yours, and the other one's The Gap in the Game and The Power of Now. And I'm doing this series that's bringing pieces of information into one episode.
Brilliant.
So the first 2 episodes have already dropped, which is episode 104 and 105. And 105 was quite into the winning mindset.
Yeah.
So there's another 4 episodes to go.
Wow.
But what I was doing is bringing all the good things, the gems out of these 3 books.
Yeah.
And
condense it so that people can take it away and use it, eh?
Yeah, so it's all about like there's your philosophy around how you coach, right? And then also Eckhart Tolle's being in the present.
Yeah.
And then also the gap in the game, which is like, hey, don't compare yourselves to others.
Yeah. Because you give your power away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So is there anything else you would like to share before I ask you a few more questions?
Man, go for it.
No. So what inspired you to develop the winning mindset, the book, and how's this influenced the journey?
That is, again, I think it's every single person's responsibility.
Yeah.
You've been given the gift of life, right? And with that, you have a responsibility to be the best you can be and all you can be. Now, you think about that. If everyone had that attitude, wonder what kind of world we'd be living in. But most people can't be asked.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to go to my deathbed and look back on my life and go, holy shit, man, look what I've done.
The legacy you want to leave, right?
Far out. Yeah. I want my grandchildren to talk about me.
Yeah.
I want to leave some sort of legacy. I like the idea, ideally, that people are talking fondly about me even when I'm not there. That is something really special. Someone at a lunch somewhere going, oh yeah, this guy really made an influence on me. I'm not even there, I never know. But the fact that they're talking fondly about me is something that really, fires me up. Yeah.
Yeah. And like with your techniques in terms of building and maintaining a strong self-image, are there some common challenges that individuals face in this process?
I think the biggest, most important thing is to be self-aware. Because you cannot change anything you don't first acknowledge.
Exactly.
So for a lot of people, we're not that clear, and that's often reflected in limiting beliefs in language.
Mm.
You know, yeah, it's hard for me.
Yeah.
I like to, but,
Mm.
you know, I can't because,
Mm.
you know, and so that verbalization is a representation of the internal belief, and that in of itself becomes your model of the world. What perception is projection?
Yeah.
You know, if how I explain it's like winter. Some people in winter bitch and moan about the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Other people ski.
Yeah.
Perception.
Yeah, it is perception.
Right.
And it's all these things that we've picked up over the years.
But you have to take time out to really spend some time with yourself and be honest.
Mm.
You know, when I work with a client, one of the first things I'll say to them is, do you give me permission to be blunt and honest?
Mm-hmm.
And because we haven't got time to fuck around.
No.
You know, I just want to get to the point and get you moving forward and then see you later, because next, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not, you know, next, but, you know, that could be in a timely manner. For some people, it'd be 10 sessions, it could be 3 sessions, it could be 3 years. It's all dependent on the individual.
Mm.
But ideally, I want to make myself redundant.
Yeah.
I want, if you have to rely on me for the next 20 fucking years, I am not doing my fucking job. I want resilient young individuals going out there going, thanks, Dave, see you later. Perfect.
They've got the awareness.
And all of a sudden, 2 years later, I hear, oh my God, they've just had this.
Yeah.
You know, that is what the essence of coaching is all
Let's
about.
go back to that. So, like when you first started coaching, like Lydia Ko, let's take Lydia Ko because everyone knows Lydia Ko.
Yeah.
You know, like she was 10 years old, I believe, when you first started coaching.
Yeah, actually, she was more like 8.
8, okay. And I read about how she took a photo of one of the great
Annika
golfers.
Sorensen.
Yeah, and replaced the head with
so everyone should have a vision board.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I've got mine up there. Everyone should have some sort of vision. And, you know, it was interesting. One of the top coaches said, you know, fuck your vision board, just get busy. And I think that's absolutely incorrect, because here's the thing. If I said to you right now, I have $10 million buried on a property in Auckland, it's all yours. What's the question you're going to ask? You can go get it right now. It's all yours. $10 million.
Where is it? Yeah.
Because you'd be a fucking idiot digging holes all over the frickin' place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you need some sort of direction. We're not deluded about the work that has to be undertaken. But think about a vision board. It's not like it takes you the rest of your life. You get it done in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But every day I'm clear on why.
And it keeps you accountable too.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're not deluded. You have to work hard. And it's all time dependent on what the actual requirement is. If you're 8 years old and you want to be the world's greatest golfer, you know that it's going to be probably 20 years of hard work.
And it's going to pay off.
If it's a goal to earn $1,000, it may be I hustle for 2 weeks and selling things, but I get it. It's all dependent. But ultimately, for individuals, we need to be clear on the vision.
Yeah.
And that way it keeps you on the right line. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you step off that wagon, and because you're clear on the pathway, we ensure that you can get back on before that wagon goes too far down the track.
Yeah. And so, as you've journeyed through your coaching journey, and your clients have gone into, you know, success and fame and so on.
Yeah.
How's that been for you? Like, I mean, you're
that's
really
the ultimate
proud,
affirmation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you're doing an amazing job.
I like to think of myself as one of the most successful coaches you never heard of.
Yeah. Well,
because it's not about me.
I never heard of you until I got this book.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I did.
And that's the way I like it.
Yeah. And, you know, like the weekend after I got this book, I, from a lovely girlfriend, Amanda, and her kids. And
I'll give you the $20 later.
Yeah. And the thing is, as you said before, behind every good man is an amazing woman. And
let's get clear on that, mate.
Yeah. And the thing is, yeah, absolutely. She pulls me up on my bullshit every day.
Oh, mate, I think that's the beautiful thing. I think the thing with Joe and I is we are a team.
Yeah.
We are aligned in our values,
yeah.
our beliefs, and our vision.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have that level of respect, trust, love, and affection, you know, life's not hard.
No.
You know, here's something else that's kind of interesting. When you truly find your bliss, I've been doing this 30 years. I've had 2 days off sick in 30 years. How many of your employees took their 5, 6, 7 days sick every year?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, the other thing that's really important to understand, I believe, is the most important resource is time.
Yeah.
Do you fuck if I'm going to lie in bed being miserable? Fuck that. There's time's ticking, and it's the one resource you don't get back. You can make money, you can come and go, but time, it's ticking.
Yeah.
And when you understand that and value that, it gives you a sense of clarity and vision to hold yourself to a high level of accountability to every day ensure that you're extracting as much out of it as possible. That also includes quiet time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Time with the friends and family.
Yeah.
But also time for self.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one thing I've really enjoyed.
Absolutely. We all need time to be with ourselves and you know, be one with our thoughts and emotions and really understand what's going on for us, right? Because as Tony Robbins says, life happens for you, not to you.
Yeah.
And wherever that quote comes from.
Yeah.
Also, you talk about the alter ego.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, how that all came about is it's something that I kind of developed when I was doing strongman. Because, you know, when you're sort of strapped up to a truck with 8 cars on it and you have to pull it for 100 meters or so, you know, every tendon muscle is on the verge of ripping.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, I truly, in a physical and mental sense, pain means new life. It needs to be embraced to a certain point. And so where it came from initially for me was from a movie, one of my favorite movies. Did you ever see Highlander?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that movie, right? So it's in the 80s, right? Kurgan.
There was a TV show around it as well.
Yeah, but the actual movie. Yeah. And there's a scene there on the beach with Sean, what's his name? Sean Connery is mentoring this young, God, what's his name now? Fuck, I forget his name.
Yeah.
But he says, because he's preparing him for this big fight. And they're out there on the beach and he has to work on his speed. And he goes, I want you to look at the stag. The stag's majestic. It's fast. It can run up hills. And he says, I want you to be at one with the stag. Feel the stag. And then he takes off. And I can feel it. And I'm going, okay, that's kind of interesting. I wonder, what is it like when you become undoubtedly fearless? What is that like? And so when I went into strongman, I became a 10,000 kg raging bull, but I'm in control of it.
Wow.
That's why the bull sits there. The other bull sits up on top of there. That was my alter ego. So which one would you rather face in competition? Me as a 160k strongman or a 10,000 kg raging bull? I know which one I'm running away from, right? And I found that what it did is when I got into that state, all the contaminating thoughts disappeared.
Yeah.
And one of the most incredible things that can impact the internal dialogue is the physiology. When you act as if, people say to me, look, I'm not that confident. And I'll go, but if you were, how would you act? How would you speak? Well, and admit they have to move the physiology.
Yeah.
And then, I've had so many stories where I've done this. I had a young lady who had a lot of these sabotaging thoughts, especially when she was under stress. And she was Commonwealth weightlifter. And she really wasn't expected to get in the, maybe the top 8. But anyway, we started working together. Her name was Tracy Lamberts, and I think it was 2016 Commonwealth Games. I can't remember exactly. But we worked on this alter ego. Now, she's ex-South African, so she became this lioness, bronze medal. And for her, that was like a gold. She never thought she was going to medal, and she did. And in that moment, she became more than all her parts. And it's something really powerful. I mean, kids do it all the time, right? You observe kids and play. They don't, you give them a stick. And back in our days, a stick became a gun or I remember
a sword or something.
I remember playing with my mates and going, what's your superpower? And I used to piss them all off because I was everything proof. Fuck, you can't be that. No, I am. I fucking chose. I'm everything proof, so I win. So I've always been kind of competitive, but it's powerful. I mean, sometimes we talk about disassociate and borrow resources. Disassociate from the historical bullshit story and borrow resources in that moment to step up and be calm and improve the probability of presenting the best version of you. So under pressure, it's a great way to help on top of, breathing exercises, etc. But it's been an effective tool.
And what's your approach on helping individuals become more resilient in the face of feedback and criticism? A lot of people struggle with feedback and criticism and the self-belief.
Well, I think the first things first is, let's get clear on life, eh? If you think it's all rainbows and butterflies, you're fucking deluded, right? So first things first is learning to accept the fact that you're going to fucking fail, right? It's inevitable. Now, the important thing here is to preserve the learnings and let go of the negative emotions. Because most of us, especially children, and adults, admittedly, we tend to focus on the emotion. One of the best things that I have learned, especially when you're really vulnerable. Okay, so where am I most vulnerable? It's in my study, my essays. Okay. What is the gift that I'm constantly giving? Is fucking feedback. Dave, your construction of your argument was substandard. Your professor is not trying to fuck you up. They are giving you guidance. But we
take it as criticism.
It's not fair. I worked so hard. Fuck off with that bullshit.
Because we make it so personal.
For fuck's sake. Harden the fuck up. Take on the learnings. Ensure you don't do it again. Take responsibility. But for fuck's sake, everyone's quick. And you start developing your victim story. It's not fair because, fuck off.
Yeah. I was in that mold for a very long time, and then I learned that failure is only feedback and even it's not criticism. It's just someone giving their point of view, and it's
what, you get that, right? And yet I still to this day continuously have to really work on reinforcing that.
Absolutely.
People still don't fucking get it.
No.
It's only feedback. They say it. But then when they get fucking feedback that's negative, fuck you.
Well, I think the best thing you can do is say, thank you. All right?
Yeah.
And then go, okay, what have I learned from this?
Yeah. But that step in of itself seems simplistic.
Simplistic, but for a lot of people, it's not.
Fuck.
But yeah,
But when you really get it, you free yourself to accelerate learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go back into fear, right? And so that limits your model of the world. Oh, fuck, this is so hard. Bullshit. The feedback is the gift.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Now, what I would suggest in this world today is that if feedback is the gift, I would simply say this: be fucking clear on who feedback you listen to.
Absolutely.
Fuck, everyone's a fucking expert.
They are.
Right? Online, everyone knows how to suck fucking eggs.
Yeah.
I would suggest, if you're clear on it, justified, true belief, right? But be selective.
As I say, surround yourself with people who are already successful and who have already been there, right?
Yes.
And whoever you, there's that saying where they say who you hang out with determines
who you most hang out with.
Yeah.
You are generally the bottom denominator of that.
But then you've got.
But you progress.
You've got look at the opportunity in the room. You've got to.
I tell you, I think, and no disrespect, because it's all on history, but I go back. I had a mate of mine post something from the days. So when I left school, I lived in Clendon, South Auckland, back in Manurewa, rough as fucking guts. And he posted it, and I said, man, those were epic times. And my model of the world in those days, Friday night was a couple of crates of beer, a bag of something that you smoke, fish and chips, and a bunch of guys getting on the piss, singing along to guitar, and then waking up the next morning with a hangover, waking up and getting ready for a rugby game, right? But that was, and that was my model. And now the things have changed dramatically.
Yeah.
The people that I hang out with.
Yeah.
But I still keep in touch with two of those guys. But they were. It's a prime example. I mean, that's part of why I think I progressed with my strongman, because the moment I got really good in the gym, I got out because I wanted to be challenged.
Yeah.
I progressively worked from Papakura YMCA all the way into Gold's Gym, Simon Street, where if you couldn't bench 180 Ks or deadlift 300 or squat 300, get the fuck out of the gym.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was.
And so for you, it was that consistent.
It was a progression. But that's how you improve.
Yeah.
I mean, too many people, we talk about motivational filtering systems. Most of us are motivated to take action by moving away from something. But, most of the time, on the other end is moving towards something. And that's where most people probably need to be, because they're not really moving away from anything. But unfortunately, in the middle is comfort.
Yeah. And it's because of the fear that we have, right? We stay comfortable. But on the other side of that comfort zone is where your dream is.
And for a lot of people, they're just not even aware that they're comfortable.
Yeah. And as you say in your book, like you describe fear as false evidence appearing real. There's another saying that face everything and rise.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever fear comes, it's interesting. I was listening to this guy, Bashar. He was saying, fear's coming and knocking on your door. And you're going, no, go away. No, I don't want to. And then knocks on the door, goes, and the fear says, I'm going to huff and a puff, going to blow your house down. The thing is, spending all of that energy to push fear away, and know that fear is just your friend. It's just there to deliver a message.
To serve you.
It's there to give you some feedback.
Yeah.
And if you've got the awareness and the consciousness of it, then you'll be able to go,
And on the other side of fear is a better version of you. But here's a one that I share with, especially with the kids. I talk about, on the plains in America, and there's a storm coming. The story of the buffalo and the cow. And the buffalo and the cow are on the plains, and they can see the dark clouds gathering, coming closer and closer. The cow takes action and turns around and runs away. The buffalo takes action, faces and starts running towards, runs towards the storm.
So
The cow runs away from the storm. Who spends more time in the storm?
the cow.
Cow. Because they can't outrun the
No,
storm.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard of that before.
It's beautiful.
Buffaloes always run into the storm.
Into the storm.
Yeah.
They spend less time in it.
This time, I know, yeah.
So facing fear sometimes is the most powerful thing you can do. Now, in order to really do that for the average person, it's not everyone's a UFC fighter, right? But it's sort of like, take a look at your circumstance and look at your representation, your language. God, I struggle. I haven't got enough money. I wish I could. I wish I could that. And think, okay, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So where I need to change all that. I still crack up because money is a beautiful. Money isn't just energy. I love money.
Yeah.
And I found a page, a wage slip, and I'd made $120 for the week. I can't remember what I was on. It was $7 an hour or whatever. It was. It was way less than that.
Yeah.
When I first started.
I remember it was about like $4 or $5 or something.
Yeah. In fact, when I started my apprenticeship, I think I was on 90 cents an hour.
Yeah.
For my first 3 months, and then I went up to $1.20, whatever it was.
Wow.
And Joe said, "Oh my God, you look at that." And then there was a slip from an organisation that paid me in American dollars which converted to $10,000. And I said, I went from $1.20 an hour to $10,000 for the hour. Fuck me. What a difference.
It is.
Now, what was the contributing factor? Well, I would say I worked on me.
Yeah.
And changed my thinking.
Yeah. The more we work on ourselves, the more we unlock.
The model changes.
Yeah. We unleash all that.
Unlock.
Yeah.
And it improves probability and possibility. There are no guarantees, but if you can improve possibility and probability, most of the time, most likely, it's going to be what you deserve.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a bottle with gas in it. When you open it, all that potential comes out, right?
Absolutely.
And whatever you put into your gas tank is going to...
Well, it's a continuation too. You know, it's now... Nietzsche talked about this transition, and I when I first started in philosophy, I really kind of struggled to understand it, but now I kind of get it. So the first transition is the first of the states that we're in is the camel. The camel can carry heavy loads, and it does the hard work. And I think most of us start off the journey of the camel, and that the camel says yes to the dragon dictates. But the next transition is the lion. The lion has to be robust and courageous to say no to the dragon. And that's it can represent a number of different things, but it could be the limiting beliefs that you have, for instance. When you say no to that and start to overcome it, and then as you go through that transition, it leads to the last transition, which is you've got the camel, the lion, and then Nietzsche talks about the child. And I'm going, how do you understand? But now I get it in the sense of there's a sense of wonderment that you live life. You're not fearful. There's a sense of wonder. You think about a child, everything's exciting. Everything's interesting. And not saying that kids doesn't, have a fucking cry and whatnot, but to be free, to be mesmerized by life, to be curious.
Exactly.
To investigate. Oh man, what a great way to live life.
And that's what all of us are looking for, is freedom, right?
Yeah. freedom and happiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And money, all that sort of stuff. Money's great. Money's great energy, and it's a great tool. But ultimately, what everyone's looking for is freedom and happiness.
Yeah, and again, we're not deluded when we say that there's, it's always going to be happy. Yeah, I mean, the only way you truly have happiness at that level is probably be on drugs. Challenges and shit happen.
Yeah.
But if the majority of your life you are happily on a journey, what a great way to live.
Yeah, like I said, if you're happy, but even when the challenges come up,
you can deal with it better.
You can deal with it, and you know that challenge is there to help you grow into your next version. Because becoming your best version is
the most responsible thing you can do to yourself.
Yeah, it's a journey, right?
Absolutely. And when you see it that way, that helps to encourage that curiosity. Fuck. So I am very selective now. Like, I like to spend time by myself. I don't have a lot of friends. I have quality friends. I am very quick. If there's a contaminating environment, I'll get the fuck out. I cannot be fucking asked. And I'm the sort of person where I'll, in some cases, say it to your face, fuck off. I don't want to hear your victim story. One of the most important things that I think that I share in the book and share with clients is protect yourself at all times.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
And it's so bloody important.
Yeah, it is.
Who you hang out with. Don't let people, don't let people rob you of your time and your energy.
Yeah, exactly. Because the energy that they transfer onto you,
they'll rob you of it, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I have no qualms, get out of my face.
Before we go into, I've got 5 quick fire questions at the end.
Okay.
But before we go into that, one of the things I wanted to cover was actually two short questions. One was around overcoming self-limiting beliefs. This is something that a lot of people face, right?
Yeah.
And what would be your, how can people identify their self-limiting beliefs? And then what are some initial steps they can take to overcome them?
I get this a lot. And you know what? People have to realize this because, generally they ask and they go, so how do you do that? Because they want the easy fucking way. Well, fuck me. First identify it and then have the continuation of courage to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People go, well, so is there an easier way? No, there fucking isn't.
You've got to do the work.
For fuck's sake, you need to do the work to understand it.
Absolutely.
Fuck. So if you want a quick fix, fuck off.
The work, the overcoming is in the process, right? Doing the work you overcome.
To truly overcome and to develop robust belief systems, you have to do the fucking work. People say to me, oh, can you hypnotize me? Oh, fuck off. There are, even a hypnotist, if you're trying to, say, stop smoking, the hypnotist will get you to do a whole lot of work before, and again, in this fucking world, everyone's going, oh, how do I, what's the easy way? Fuck.
So going back to what you said was initially
identify,
put
a strategy together to overcome it, commit to it, have the courage to the continuation of it. Are you going to fuck up and fail? Yes, but it's the continuation. Eventually,
stay consistent, and
you get to a point the neurology changes and is transformed.
Absolutely, yeah. The new pathways.
So anyone that says, "Oh no, there's a real easy way," you can get fucked.
There is no easy way.
No,
you got to do the work.
Do the work.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you.
Fuck me, I'm still doing it.
Yeah, well, every day is a new day to do the work. Right?
Yeah,
because as Eckhart Tolle says, yesterday was a present day moment. Today is a present moment. So if we only ever have the present moment, then you've just got to do the work.
Absolutely.
Just do it, like Niethe said.
And people, look, I would say, read, take responsibility, take ownership, and make yourself accountable to someone to encourage the behavior.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for that. Okay, so the last question before the quickfire is, what are your future plans on promoting the winning mindset philosophy? And are there any upcoming projects or areas that you're focusing on?
Right now, I'm just focused on finishing my degrees. I like my business. It organically grows. I mean, the book speaks for itself, and I know that the publisher is really excited. We're looking at, we're going into America, I think August this year. Mate, I start tapping into that market. It's pretty cool.
Well, my podcast is global, so
Please.
Your book's already out there.
Just tell the Americans to be patient.
Yep.
Okay, just be patient. August. They'll be in. We're looking at launching into the market there.
So they're already getting snippets of what I'm sharing in my series.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
So we're at this stage. We're expecting. Well, what's the population of America? 250 million. So ideally, we want to be hitting 200 million 3-year viewers.
Yeah.
So 200 million sales.
Yeah.
I expect. I'll hold you to account for that, mate.
Yeah, my YouTube is slowly getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to add in terms of any stories you wanted to in terms of, like you mentioned, the UFC? What was that like? Training some UFC fighters and so on.
I resonate with fighters. I love UFC. I love boxing. I'm a redneck. I love powerlifting. I love that sort of sport. Now, that's not to say that I can't work effectively with a ping pong player or a tennis player. And, no disrespect to them, but I love, because I think it's the true test of fear.
Yeah.
When you're under a 380k squat, you cannot afford to fuck that
or
up.
You're facing your opponent in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone's an expert until they get punched in the face. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of me as well. So there's a real buzz in developing, but I just love people.
Yeah.
I get every single client. There's no special. There's no, they're all special. I see them. I mean, I am so fucking competitive. When a client comes in, I am so fucking determined to help them overcome. I mean, I just had the age group champs, first, second, and third New Zealand age group champs. All clients.
I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm so fucking proud of the boys.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of me. I mean, I am committed to being developing winners. And again, in order to do that, I must be congruent, and that's something I absolutely hold myself to a high level of accountability.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Dave. All right. So here's the 5 questions.
Quick fire. Here we go.
And you could do it in a word or a sentence. How do you define success, and has that definition changed for you over time?
Oh, and that's subjective to every individual. I mean, success for me is having great kids that are successful. Success for me is my relationship with my wife for over 30 years. What a woman.
Yeah.
My success is seeing my friends succeed in life.
Yeah.
My success is fucking living.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Absolutely. Who's been your greatest inspiration and why?
Okay, now there is a whole heap of people, and you're asking for me for one. And that's easily answered, mate. That's easily answered.
I'm guessing it's your first coach?
No.
No. Okay.
My wife.
Your wife? Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Absolutely. She's been on the journey with you the whole time. When I first started, she had more belief in me than I did in myself. So without her
quite possibly wouldn't be where I am today.
Isn't that amazing that another human being has so much belief in you and
Yeah, man.
backs you, right?
Fucking A.
And it's not that a feeling, because like...
And more importantly, has the belief in such a way to challenge you in your bullshit story.
Absolutely. You know, because me growing up, I was told useless, I'd never amount to anything and stuff. And that gave me more determination to believe and back myself, you know?
You think about this when we're going back before. I said on the other side of fear is a better version of you. A significant moment was me talking and meeting Jim Rohn, right? That moment was dictated by my wife, which stimulated a journey.
Yeah.
That moment was a gift from my wife.
Absolutely. She
change your fucking shirt and get your ass out there.
She saw the potential in you, and she pushed you out there and said,
so beautiful.
Go
man.
do what you do best.
Fucking A.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love it. What is something that you believe that others may disagree with?
I believe that you are at cause for everything that happens in your life.
Yeah, agree. If you could go back to your younger self and give the young Dave a bit of advice, what would it be?
I wouldn't change anything. No, I wouldn't change anything.
No.
Because I am absolutely proud of who I have become now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to fuck that up.
Fuck. It's interesting.
Fuck.
It's interesting, even though you go through adversities in your life and you may be stuck in the moment, right? But if you're a better version of yourself, you don't want to change anything.
No, man.
I mean, I was sent to an ashram boarding school, which was crossed between army and prison, and I never saw my mum until I was 21, and I saw my dad maybe once a year. It was abandonment and rejection, but I wouldn't change a single day.
Think about this. Niethe talked about reoccurrence.
Yeah.
If you look at your life now, and it was to reoccur for eternity, would you happily do it? I would.
Imagine the learnings you get in there. Imagine the...
But it's the fact that you're comfortable in repeating this for eternity. I would happily do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What is one message that you'd like to share with the world?
If it's going to be, it's up to me. You have it within you. And I've said this with all my clients. The one thing you need to be a success in life is 100 trillion cells. You've got everything you need right now to make change. No excuses.
No excuses. It's your responsibility.
Absolutely.
No one's coming to save you.
You've got everything.
Yeah.
You've got everything.
You've got everything. Yeah. Everything's within you.
Cells.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. And the more you go internally and go introspective, the more you're going to learn about it.
The premise, though, is yes, you can go in, but you have everything. Now, what I would expect, if anyone wants to challenge me on that, go away, take some time, count all your cells, and if you haven't quite got enough, let me know.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, absolutely. One last question, and this resonates with the podcast. What does it mean? What does being a champion in your life mean to you, and having that champion mindset?
Champions, by definition, I had a little quote that I'm really proud of, and now I'm going to have to remember it. Winning sometimes isn't about coming first. Winning for some is simply overcoming something that sabotages your potential.
Yeah. Love it.
Done and dusted.
Yeah, it's been amazing having you here.
Thank you for having me.
For us to be in your house and to be able in your office and be able to have this podcast episode. Really grateful.
You're welcome.
And you know, like it took one step for me the weekend after I got this book I woke up literally next to my girlfriend, and I said, fuck, I've just got to do this. And what I did is I connected with you on LinkedIn, and I sent you a message, and I said, love to have you on the podcast. And you said, let's do it. And then we met last week for breakfast. This has been amazing for me. Honestly, it's like, and I would love for this friendship to continue. So, it's amazing. People come into your life for a reason. And
a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Or a lifetime, yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Dave.
You're welcome, mate.
Yeah. So if you've been listening or watching this episode, I'd love for you to share this episode with someone that could benefit from the gold, the gems that we've shared in this episode. And please don't forget to subscribe or follow this podcast so that we can get it out to the wider world. And lastly, I just want to say, you are loved, you are worthy, champion your life and champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.
And buy my book.
And buy the book, The Winning Mindset by David Niethe. If you don't have, I'll put the links so you can get it. I got I don't know where you guys got it from.
Wickles, Paper Plus.
But you can buy it from Mighty Ape or wherever you want to go. Yeah. So have an amazing day.